If you're a parent with a child who plays sports, you're always worried about injuries, the broken bones, the strains, the sprains, simple to see, simple to treat. But the most dangerous injury and the one most on the rise are concussions. Unlike most other injuries, a mistreated or misdiagnosed concussion can have devastating consequences. We're joined this morning by Dr. Sharon Chirban. She's an instructor at Harvard Medical School and a sports psychologist in the Division of Sports Medicine at Children's Hospital's Concussion Clinic. And the fact we even have a concussion clinic shows how much we progress in terms of taking this a little more seriously and understanding it, Dr. Chirban. But is the reason we're seeing more concussions the fact that A, there are simply more concussions, or B, we're just diagnosing them and have a better understanding of them?
The answer is both. We're seeing more concussions. Children are playing harder. They're hitting harder. The professionalization of youth sports has driven all sorts of sport injuries up. Yeah.
Now, we have a lot of coaches who don't know about concussions. A lot of high school programs can't afford trainers to know about concussions. This is why you're urging parents really to get involved here when it comes to this.
Right. So what a parent can do is, one, inquire if the high school program insists on impact testing. Impact testing is a neurocognitive assessment that establishes each individual baseline per athlete. And high school programs that can afford it provide this to all of their JV and varsity athletes. If your program can't afford it, you can go get the testing done on your own. Those baseline scores become priceless when there has been a concussion, and you now have something guiding you for good, solid return to play decisions.
When you go for one of those, will you know if you're assuming, all right, I want to get one of these baseline, I want to get a test, the impact test, and my child hasn't had a concussion, so you don't think, will that show if you may have had a concussion previously, or that's just where your baseline is? And
that's your baseline. That's your reaction time. That's your memory, focus, concentration. And so it's establishing the baseline per athlete.
What should parents really watch for if they think their child may have suffered a concussion?
Okay, well, the first most prominent symptom is headaches. Sometimes headaches don't come on for 24 to 48 hours. So after there's been some sort of head impact, you make sure your child stays out of the game and you watch them for a day or two. Children often self-report, I'm fine, put me back in. Headaches come on. The foggy feeling is the one that you really want to watch for. That tends to be associated with a more severe concussion and a concussion that tends to last longer. And the foggy feeling, kids describe themselves as, I just don't feel like myself. I feel like I'm kind of walking around in a fog or in a daze. When that symptom is present, other concussion symptoms are usually present too.
And there can be kids who, severe cases, kids are vomiting and really severe headaches.
Vomiting, severe headaches, a disruption in sleep, or just sleeping all day.
And when it comes to someone who has a concussion, if a child has a concussion, a young athlete or a high school athlete, are they more susceptible to get a concussion again down the road?
Absolutely. Second impact concussions are actually more serious, and a first concussion allows an athlete to be more susceptible. The kids that I tend to see as a psychologist in the concussion clinic are concussion 2, concussion 3, and I've had up to 5 concussions.
Is there a recommended cutoff point?
It seems to me that doctors try to weigh those decisions and parents try to weigh the decision. There isn't often a clear-cut point where you've had 3 concussions or you've had 5. There's discomfort past a 5th concussion to put a kid back into a contact sport.
So if you have someone, maybe your child plays football and has had a couple of concussions and you say that's enough football, they could still play baseball or something else. The risk is always there, but if it's not
contact sport.
Right. It may be minimized. And if people think this is just a football or hockey-related issue, they'd be mistaken.
Oh, you should see the number of cheerleaders I have, field hockey players, ice hockey players.
Soccer players.
Soccer players, all of them.
It is really something that you have to take seriously because, again, the worst-case scenario, we've heard real devastating stories that people with concussions either misdiagnosed or not even know they had them have led to death in some cases.
Correct.
So you got to stay on top of it. To reach Dr. Chirban, you can visit her website at amplifyingperformance.com. And if you're a parent, you have a kid in any of these sports, please pay very close attention to that. It is mighty important. Dr. Chirban, thank you for coming in and sharing your expertise with us this morning.